Hello there everyone, my name is Luke, and today this is the 5-year catch-up of Youth to Gold. Now, the Youth to Gold has been an incredible series so far. Like I say, we are 5 seasons in, and quite frankly, a lot of people have got well on board with the concept, and this is an episode so that the people who haven't watched from the beginning, who are looking at it, going 22 or whatever it is episodes that we're up to now after 5 years, with like 4 hours per stream per episode. I'm not watching that to catch up. However, I do like the idea of it. This is an episode just for you because what I'm going to do now is bring you right up to date in a very quick video so that you guys can just watch this video and then don't have to watch all of the streams that I've done so far and just watch from now on. So you can join us on the live streams as much as you like, and you're all caught up to date with everyone else. Now, of course, the concept of Youth to Gold is quite simple, really. I am only allowed to sign teenagers, so as soon as they hit the age of 20, if I haven't pressed confirm yet on that transfer deal, I cannot sign them. And the other rule, of course, is the Youth to Gold, is that I'm not allowed to use anyone who is 30 plus. Now, as you can probably tell by the numerous thumbnails and everything like that, I have chosen to pick Strasbourg, Racing Club Strasbourg in the French division. Now, the reason why I picked this club, they had a slight transfer budget. They had a possibility of going into Europe, but they were predicted to finish 15th in the league. They didn't have the strongest side. They had 2 or 3 players who were over the age of 30, which we will cover at some point during this episode. And they had a lot of good prospects in their early 20s so that I could grow and use them till I can sell them. Now, let's go forward and go have a look at how we got on during our first season. So yes, our first season is upon us, and on the stream of the very first episode, it took us a very long time before we got towards any of our first games. So our actual first proper game was Lechia Gdansk in the Europa League. It was a qualifier. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at the transfers we made during that transfer window. So here we have it then. This is our first ever transfer window, and I'll do it by day. I'll do it by who we signed first. Now, first and foremost, there were 3 players who came on the transfer deadline. No, the transfer day that it opened, sorry. And probably the best signing that we had so far was Nicolo Armini. We picked him up from Lazio for 1.3 million, and I don't want to show you his profile just yet because he is absolutely fantastic now, but when he joined us, he definitely wasn't. He had 8 pace, 8 acceleration, and he's turned into probably our best player. Of course, he has the nickname of Tyler now, thanks to a Patreon member, which I'll go over in a sec, but that is basically Youth to Gold protocol now. We don't have any first team players at the minute who aren't sponsored by a Patreon member, which absolutely baffles me. When I first started this save, I did not think that was going to be the case. I thought maybe 1 or 2 people, but that's going to be it. But anyway, going back on, our first ever Patreon member, Mark Fairhurst, took over this man, Gilles Moyden, from Stubbeck, 185k. I signed him because I got him on the Conquering Scandinavia save. He has made some appearances. He is still with us, thank God, but I've loaned him out pretty much every year so far. And our last signing that we made, which crucially got us in the Europa League, which I'll cover, is Francisco Trincao before the transfer window opened, £1.3 million. Now later on in the save, we made some more signings. One, and probably the best signing that we made for the first 2 seasons, a 2-year loan deal for Phil Foden. From Man City, I'll show you him now. We don't have him no longer, but he is an incredible player and we used him for a long time. For 2 seasons, he played 37 games in each, which means he only missed 1 game each time. And look how good his first season was. 11 goals, 13 assists. The same for the second season. Not as good, but still impressive. 9 goals, 4 assists with 4 player of the matches. What a player Phil Foden was at the start of this save. We also got James Garner on loan, who was very good to begin with. Tailed off a little more at the end of the season. Antonio Marin, who played a bit part for us quite a lot. But Ryan Cherky was a deal we made in October, 1.1 million. He joined us immediately because we got him sort of on a free transfer. It was an approach to sign deal. And what an important player he became. We played him straight from the off. He was incredible. Very good, Ryan Cherky. Arthur Zagra, we never really utilised a 2-year loan deal for Arthur Zagra at left back. And Lee Kang-in played quite a vital part for a year as well. On the outs, you probably won't really know anyone. We'll skip it. But yes, our first season, and as I said, our first game was the Lechia Gdansk match. We beat them 3-2 in the first game at home. We drew 1-1 away, and we were originally going out if it wasn't for the Francisco Trincao 90th minute goal. That was how we ended the first episode of Youth to Gold. And let me tell you, it continues. The late drama just continues. It was such a late goal. I went mental. The chat went mental. It was such a good feeling. Onwards and upwards, though, we then destroyed Viitorul Constantinu, whatever they were called, and FC Utrecht in the Europa League to put us in the Europa League group stages. In between that, we had some impressive wins against Lyon, Nice, Reims. We carried on a very good run until we finally lost against what's turned out to be our rivals of this save so far, Stade Rennais. Dynamo Zagreb was in our Europa League group, and as I scroll down here, you're going to see an ongoing thing. We are not very good in the Europa League. We lost to Maccabi Tel Aviv. We lost 4-0 to Manchester United. Then we drew 0-0 to them. We did not do very well in the Europa League that year, going out in the group stage. But league form-wise, we were very impressive. And we also got to the Coupe de la Ligue final, where we lost 2-0 to PSG. But as you can see, our league form tailed off a little. Those bastards, Stade Rennes, beat us again 4-0. Just when we were looking like we were getting some momentum back again. We continued the momentum, to be fair. It's just PSG and Rennes who really destroyed us in this season. But our league form continues, and this was probably my most favourite win of the first season. An 8-1 destruction away to Bordeaux, where we made Laurent Koscielny look horrendous. So a lot of goal scorers as well, as you can see on the score sheet. But this is where it really cost us at the end of the season. We lost a couple of games here. We beat Lyon 4-1 at the end of the season. And remember when I said it's always the late drama? This game secured us Champions League football last year. On the very last day of the season, we needed to win, and we needed Rennes to lose to make sure we won third place in the league. We would have secured it nice and easy. At one point, we were 8 points clear. At some point around here, 8 points clear. And we tailed off. We lost 1. We lost 2. We dropped another 2 points against Toulouse. And we left it to the final day of the season, where we overcame Lyon 4-1. An impressive victory in the league. Pretty much securing us. And let's have a look at that league table. And here it is, the league table. So as you can see, we won our last game and we secured third place on goal difference alone, beating out Rennes. We are quite far off from PSG and from Lyon. But other than that, a very impressive first season for Strasbourg. Securing Champions League football was a goal I did not think I would achieve that early on. Let's have a look at Season 2. So Season 2 brought us a lot more signings. We ended up spending 18 million, almost 19, and selling 13 million. We brought in Ryan Ait-Nouri from Angers, a target I had for a long time to fill in that left back because one of our left backs is getting quite old. And of course, when they get old, I need to sell them. So Ryan Ait-Nouri came in 600k, an absolute bargain. We're still using him at left back. But this, I think, has been the signing of the save so far. Jeff Gayton, he was known as something else. It is a Patreon sponsor's name. We signed him from Real Sociedad for 400k, and he is just an animal for us. He has played pretty much every year for us so far, and he has been incredible for us. What a player he has been. We also managed to sign Zlatan Sajovic. I finally managed to get Austin Oronov, Monobrow, which was an ongoing meme throughout the save in the early on, of course, through this season. We also got Alexander Bolduc from Heartland, 625k. That's also a Patreon member's name. But this was probably the biggest signing, I would say, of this season. We managed to secure 2 loan deals. Well, we secured more than 2, but these 2 were really important. We got Troy Parrott in on a 2-year loan deal. Absolutely incredible. He is now at Tottenham, as you can see, an absolute animal of a player. He's still at Tottenham, but he played some incredible seasons for us. But this man, Sebastiano Esposito, sponsored by Peter Salin, a long-term Patreon member, we got him from Inter Milan on a 2-year loan deal with an option to buy for £15 million. What a great bargain that is. We also got some other men here, which later on, and you'll start to see in the save now, De Klerk were actually playing on a regular basis, and we got him for 36k. Same as Azevedo, these two are like my right backs right now, 250k and 36k. Absolutely outstanding. A few more names down here. Matthias Oreza we managed to sign, Pavlovic and Belajovic, which some of these names turn out as flops, but we signed them as teenagers with the chance that they might turn out to be world beaters, and they weren't necessarily so. Another big name we got is Thiago Almeida. He was one of the biggest signings that we made that season at 5.25 million, only beaten out by Rich Holt, who is a wonder kid on this game. Hasn't quite reached his full potential yet. At £8 million we signed him for, so hopefully we don't lose any money on that. After all, this is the youth to go. We're trying to make money off these youngsters. On the outs, though, a few big names. Lionel Carroll, who was our left-back. Matiba, who was a striker, both going to Nims. Mitrovic, who was too old. And the rest, Nino da Costa, who was quite a good goal scorer for us earlier on in the save. As you can see, 12 goals and 33 appearances. Has really tailed off now. We only managed to sell him for a very cheap price. And it's disappointing. I thought we would get more for Nuno, but never mind. That is just how the story goes sometimes. And so the second season then, we had Champions League football, like I said. And we managed to get through to the group stage of the Champions League football with, yet again, late drama. First of all, we overcame Trabzonspor in Turkey, a 2-0 win away and a 5-1 victory at home. But this is where it got very difficult. We then played Porto in the first leg and we lost 3-2 away, giving us 2 away goals, but we were still needing to fight back. And at home is where we done the business. Phil Foden with a brace, but won in the 91st minute. And honestly, such late drama. It started off from their attack. They scored in the 85th minute. I thought it was going to be all over. And then Phil Foden done absolute bits for us and managed to score to put us in the Champions League. Very impressive, where our group was, unfortunately, Real Madrid, Napoli and Arsenal. It doesn't come easy in the Champions League, does it? But league form-wise, we did okay. We weren't doing as well as what we did the season before. Bedding in a lot of youngsters, I guess, and sort of using the likes of Ryan Cherky and Troy Parrott, who weren't quite ready for first team football. But that is the beauty of youth to go. You've just got to blood them in early. You've got to chuck them in the deep end and just hope that they do okay. Some big losses there to Rennes. We lost 3-0 to Arsenal, but then beat them 3-0 at home with Almeida and Troy Parrott getting a brace. So very good. And with 10 men too. We then drew 0-0 to Real Madrid, Marseille and Napoli. 3 very big games there for us. But then it continued. Another loss again to Paris Saint-Germain in the quarter-final this time of the Cup. And the league form-wise was very jittery towards the end of the season. Let's see how we got on. So unfortunately we couldn't keep up the run. We ended up dropping down to 6th place. Rennes, our rivals, took 3rd place. We just couldn't catch anyone at the top. We just could not catch anyone. And towards the end of the season, we even dropped from 4th to 6th. But unfortunately for us, a bad season overall in the second season, blooding in those youngsters. Let's move on to season number 3. Season number 3 now, seen some big names leaving, including Sanjan Pricic, Kenny Lala, who was one of our best players and our captain at the time at right back, but coming to the age of 28 meant that I needed to cash in on Kenny Lala and look for some replacements. Jean Bellegarde also left. Matt Sells, our goalkeeper, which meant we had to bring in another keeper, which you will see in a sec. And a lot of free transfers and a lot of loan deals for a lot of youngsters that we brought in. On the ins, though, we managed to get Simon Walker on a free transfer, who is no longer with us and at Manchester United. We'll go over that transfer soon. We got some free transfers in. Alex Machuca, Alex Seisted Machuca from Racing Club, centre-back, still our main centre-back. We secured the deal of Peter Salin Esposito, £15 million, and he is thankfully still with us. And we'll go over Peter Salin Esposito during season 4 because quite phenomenal numbers. We also managed to sign Snook, who is Probably our best player. Now let's have a look at Snuck earlier on. This is where we managed to sign the man for £4 million, remember. How good is he now? A 4-star player for us, 5-star potential. He is currently wanted by Bayern Munich, and he has been wanted by a lot of men. But we've managed to secure him for a long-term deal. He is a very impressive player who's been very good for us so far. Managed to get Hannibal Mejbri on loan. Turned out to be a bit of a flop, unfortunately. Miguel Acosta was the goalkeeper we brought in to replace Matt Sells. We also, on deadline day, managed to sign Ilyas Mariba, now nicknamed Tony Fury after one of our Patreon members, and he has turned out to be an absolute beast as well. Ilyas Mariba, a very good sign, and I was really happy with that one on deadline day. And that was done, basically, by making him want to join us and sort of disturbing him at his current club, bringing him to us. So that was very good from our point of view. We managed to sign 2 youngsters on a free transfer from Brazil, and we are still using one now. One of them is Duffy, and we are using him, and he has been incredible for us. 22 goals in 52 appearances so far for Duffy. Very good indeed. And Alexandro, who is no longer with us, we managed to sell for 1.2 million 2 seasons after. So we made £1 million profit on him, at least, after, if you take away all the fees and everything we paid for. That is youth to go. We found some youngsters. We sold them on. It goes like that sometimes. Let's have a look at how we got on during Season 3. So Season 3, unfortunately, finished 6th place. Actually meant that we didn't qualify for Europe, which I always find strange because it was green. I've completely forgot, if I'm honest. But it was the year that we really started focusing in on the league, and the year, pretty much, of Troy Parrott. Because Troy Parrott, cheat code Troy Parrott, was just insane for us. You'll see his name pop up everywhere during these games. There's a hat-trick there, and he's scoring again the game after. He scores a lot of goals, let's make no mistakes about it. We had some very good league form. We had some bad league form where we didn't win for a long time in this area here, dropping points against some smaller clubs as well, unfortunately. But then we managed to beat Stad Rennes 6-2. Troy Parrott with a hat-trick, a very good performance from us. And then it really kicked on our run there. We had some very good performances going into late end of the season. How do we get on? We also lost to 3-1 though, to PSG, which did cost our run a little bit, and it's unfortunate that we did lose that game. So Season 3 ended with us finishing in 5th place. Nîmes Olympique come out of nowhere. Somehow Monaco from the season before, all the way down in 7th place, somehow managed to finish in 2nd, and then they haven't been seen since, so God knows what happened to them. It's still PSG dominating, Lyon slightly behind. But we started, this is where I felt like the groundwork was being put in. We were just unlucky this season, and I really felt like the next season we would push on and be a lot better, and you'll see whether or not that is true after this. We've really pushed off Rennes from the top there down to 9th, but quite good overall this season and throughout into Season 4. Let's see. Now, Season 4 was a weird one because we didn't exactly sign a lot of players. All that we did was allow our current batch of players to just keep playing football. Keep playing first team football and allow them to get better and better. And that is basically what happened. We secured 2 loan deals. One of them was good, Pedro. We used him as a 2-year loan deal. And the other one, Iodice, who's a regen from Juventus, never really achieved much, never really accomplished much for us. But we did manage to get a few very good bargains. And one of them, let me bring your attention to Ahmed Mahmoud, who is still at our club right now, out on loan. He is a very good player indeed, the Egyptian. We managed to sign him for 230k, so maybe, just maybe, we'll see him in the future. Simon Svensson we picked up from Malmo, who is still with us as well, still developing out on loan. But this man, Oliver Wenzel Cassidy, sponsored by Ryan Cassidy, my tactics guru, £15 million, making him the highest transfer that we paid so far on this save in January of all times as well. Look at this man now. A couple of years later, he is our first choice centre-back. A very impressive player indeed, the Austrian, at 19 years old. And he hasn't really developed that much considering what he was at 17 when we signed him. He was already impressive. It wasn't like he's developed incredibly well. He was already really good. So we managed to get him. £15 million it cost us, but it was worth it. The last one, though, was because we sold Miguel Acosta, Manchester United player. now. Miguel Acosta just sat on their bench. Nothing really too special. He's only played 3 games for them. He played 49 for us, conceding 50. But instead, we signed... I did say Jeff Gayton was the signing of the save so far. It could well be this one after a while. From Girona, 375k, sponsored by Patreon member Jason Webster. It's this man. What an outstanding goalkeeper we have at 18 years old. And the ongoing joke is, whenever he saves a shot, you spam his age in the chat. Because when he was just 17, he was nowhere near this good. But he was making the saves like he still does at this good. And every time he makes a save, I just couldn't believe it. He's 17. How is he doing this? And it got to the point where it's now a meme. Every time he makes a save, someone spams his age. So there is our goalkeeper, Jason Webster. He's going to be the best goalkeeper in the world. I just know he's already one of them, to be fair. 375k. What a player. On the outs, though, Ryan Cherky left us in January for £68 million. We had some big bids come in January. One of them was for Nicolo Armini. £101 million from Barcelona was on auto reject. And at the time, everyone was going, Luke, you're stupid. You shouldn't have rejected that. I couldn't help it. It was auto reject. I could not stop it. We also lost Alexander Baldock, a guy that we signed in the first season. He's turned out to be quite a good player, although he's now joined Amiens on loan. And hasn't been doing very well. So he's at Manchester United. He hasn't played a game for him yet. He didn't do too well with us, but I felt like he was going to be really good. He wouldn't sign a new deal, and then we ended up losing him in January for 1.4 million. So I was quite gutted. Although we made money on him, though, we did make money. We signed him for 625k, sold him for 1.4. So not too bad. He signed. How many games did he play for us in total? Let's quickly look. He played a total of 15 games, scored 1 goal. So, not a lot. But for our Strasbourg second side, 24 games, 32 goals. Which I don't think you can see because of my head in the corner. But hey, you'd have to take my word for it. Some other big names going out. Daniel Mohamed, we got him on a free transfer. We sold him for 3 million. Turned out to be a flop, so that was good. Matthias Arezzo, we signed him for like 1 million. Sold him for 3. Again, the same thing. He wouldn't sign any deal. We had to let him go. Alexander Giku, who we ended up releasing for 2.5 million. Turns out he's not that good of a player anymore, but 10.5 million he's now worth. We just couldn't keep him that long. He just wasn't playing games for us, unfortunately. But let's have a look how we got on during Season 4. A season which I felt like we really kicked on and did impressive stuff with. Of course, we were in the Europa League, and we battered some teams in the Europa League to get to the Europa League group stages. This was the year, though, unfortunately, of the World Cup. And that really did kick us in the nads. We had an impressive first half of the campaign. Going on until Nantes there. We went on a nice little run of wins. Very impressive indeed. Then this is when the World Cup happened. We played some friendlies. And then we introduced a new tactic. And my word, did this new tactic do bits. So if you have a look, this is where we introduced said new tactic. The Rennes game. And it took us all the way until the 22nd of February and all of those games there, because look how many games we're playing because of the World Cup, before we even dropped 2 points. We won every game up until that, including our first victory over PSG with Snook and Peter Sal and Esposito getting on the score sheet. A dominating performance. We then beat Monaco right after them. We were on a run. We were absolutely loving it. And then Lyon was the first team to stop us. That didn't stop us too much, though. We carried on until the Coupe de France semi-final, where we lost 2-1 with a Neymar brace. In the league, well, didn't stop us all the way until the 9th of April, where it really started to cost us. Francisco Trincao getting our goal. And then the abundance of games that you have to play after the World Cup started to hurt us bad. And, well, PSG, they're just, unless you have a perfect season, they are very hard to beat. They've got Harry Kane, they've got so many, Ruben Neves, they've got so many good players. It's very hard to defeat. And we then got to the quarterfinals where we beat Roma. We then played Inter Milan in the semi-finals of Europa League. Unfortunately, lost 3-2 on aggregate. We did rather well, though, to be fair. But an impressive end of season run. Was it enough? Unfortunately, it was not enough. 5 points PSG still managed to beat us by. I mean, the season before, they had 93, 96, 93. They're just... How hard is it? How hard is it to overcome PSG? They only lost 4 and they drew 4. Whereas we lost 5, drew 5. So 5 points. But we scored 104 goals. This new tactic made by Ryan Cassidy was impressive. It's the Phantom Menace, in case you're wondering which one it is. I'm still using it now. I've done a video on FM Scout about it. Go and check it out. It's incredible. It will work for whatever club you're at. I promise you that. But 89 points we finished on. 8 points clear of Lyon. We were in a bit of a league of our own at the end of the season there, unfortunately. But can we kick on for the next season? Let's have a look at some of the transfers. So here we are then, the final season, season number 5, and this is the transfers that happened. So going by date, we signed a few regens who you probably won't ever know who they are, but you'll have to tune in to see what they look like. This is one of them who's very good, Lander de Schepper, sponsored by Lander from Belgium. Jude Bellingham for 1.9 million, an absolute bargain. But this man, Rami Hazard, we signed him on loan because a lot of teams were asking to loan him out and I wanted him as a transfer. So I made sure I got him on loan first and then I made the transfer happen. £33 million, the most that we've ever signed a player for. Here he is. He is very good indeed. Still at 18 years old. An impressive player. 10 goals so far in 31 appearances. I love him a lot. Sponsored by Rami Hazard, our highest Patreon member. So it's quite fitting really that our highest paid Patreon member is our highest paid player. I like that quite a lot about my save. After this though, we've made some other signings here. We have this guy Dude who seems to be quite good. Very good regen. Vahabovic is going to be another beast. I can just see it. A few loan deals which didn't really work out, but still. And then we've got a few men coming in which you'll soon see in the future. And potential Patreon sponsorship ideas that you could possibly get. We signed players for 46 million. We sold them for 32. Our big names going out. Tariq Marai, who I think we signed for dirt cheap, we actually sold him back to the same club. So we signed him for 300k from Pyramids. We sold him to Pyramids for 7.25. That is the youth to gold in a nutshell there. And he is not a very good player indeed. So an absolute steal. Really, isn't it? Nolan Galvez, we signed for like 1 million. We sold him for 5. He's not exactly that impressive either. We made a lot of money on that man. João Gonçalves, the same. Fontaine, exactly the same. We sold a lot of players for these types of money who we got for free transfers, for really dirt cheap money. And we're just making money out of it. It's just a way that I'd like to play FM. Even if I never intend on using some of these players, loaning them out and then selling them after a couple of seasons, you make your money back. It's worth it, I think. But on to Season 5, our first season back in the Champions League. A very impressive campaign that we had. Just a bit of a spoiler, I suppose. But anyway, we played a lot of games in the league where we were doing impressively well. The Champions League, we had a big loss there to Tottenham and Troy Parrott, of all players. We built Troy Parrott up to what he is, and now he is incredible now that they've sold Harry Kane to PSG. So we're getting bit by that one in both ways. Troy Parrott scored a hat-trick against us. But then we beat them 2-0, so we got our own back, I suppose. And we actually qualified as leaders of that group after a 1-1 victory over Benfica. Some huge games here. And this was a really impressive a really entertaining few games that we had here. 3-3 victory against 3-3 draw against Nice, and then this one, an absolutely devastating performance. We were 2-0 up. No, we were 2-1 up. Sorry, Harry Kane scored after 4 minutes. We went 2-1 up at half time. Marquinhos scored in the 84th minute to make it 2-2. We thought that might have been it, but Alex Machuca scored in the 92nd minute. We thought that we were victorious. And Kylian Mbappe then scored in the 95th from direct free kick, which crushed our dreams. Right after, though, we then beat Dijon 6-5. So very entertaining games. And we went on a run where we didn't score less than 3 goals for a really long time there. We're still winning there. Montpellier, another 5-0 win as we go into January. And our January form continues to be very impressive. Marseille being our only loss for a very long time after. And as you can see, we now get into the later stages of the Champions League. The first one We beat 2-1 Atletico Madrid with an away win. Tony Fury Mariba scoring in the 61st minute to give us that away win against Atletico Madrid on across the two legs as well, 2-1. But this one is probably my most favourite win that we've had so far. It started off one of the last streams that we had. 3-0 victory at home to Real Madrid. Real Madrid, that's right, we beat them. We then lost 2-4 on at the away game, but we won on aggregate, so thankfully we went through. Who did we play though? We played Manchester United. Exactly. We also won the Coupe de France final against Nice. We knocked out PSG in an earlier round on penalties. That was good. We then lost to PSG in the league because the league was dead and buried at this point. PSG were so far ahead of us, and we just wanted to concentrate really on the Champions League because we actually had a chance of winning it and the silverware in the Coupe de France. We played Manchester United across two legs, and unfortunately we could not get the job done. We took the lead. We took a 2-0 lead. And then right after the kickoff highlight, Erling Haaland scored. He scored later on in the game as well in a 4-3 victory for Manchester United. But when we went away, we lost 3-1, unfortunately. We ended the season on a high, though. A 6-0 win and a 5-3 win. Let's have a look at the final league table of this Youth to Gold series so far. Here it is then. We were in a league of our own once again. And unfortunately, PSG recorded a 102-point win. So it's going to be very difficult to knock them off their perch. We got 89 points though this time. Still almost scoring as many goals as them. We just conceded a lot more. So Lyon was the third place team and they were nowhere near us. 16 points in total. We were ahead of third place, and I can't even work out how far ahead we were fourth. So Champions League football once again. We have made some signings. I've gone on a little bit further than where we are right now. So the start of tonight's stream, as this video comes out, is going to be the next episode of Youth to Gold. So if you watch this video and then you think, I want to see what happens next, this is your 5-year roundup. You can now catch up and you can watch from now on. You won't have a lot to catch up on as much as what you did anyway. The 22 episodes that we've had so far, summarised in this one fairly short video. Anyway, but my name is Omega Luke. Please drop a like on the video if you can. That would be fantastic. And now that you've watched this video, you can now catch up. So please make sure you drop in the live streams. Maybe turn the notification bell on so you can see when I go live. It tends to be Sunday nights and it tends to be a midweek. It's normally Thursdays. That will probably change. Maybe a Friday, maybe a Tuesday. We will see. But anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you in a live com for Youth to Gold. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.